So today I've got a Himalayan salt effect nail art tutorial for you guys, and oh my goodness, has it taken me some time to actually work out how to do this. So I'm starting here with a base of CJP acrylic in champagne pink. I'm using a nail art brush. It needs to be quite a sort of soft and fluffy one. A good quality white acrylic paint, a little palette of some sort, and water as well. Now you can also do this on top of gel polish. You would just have to top coat using a matte top coat first and then wipe away any tacky layers before you start. I've chosen to do it on acrylic for this one because I really like this colour. I think it gives a good base for me to work on as well. So you need a pea-sized amount of acrylic, not a huge amount, and you're actually going to water this down a fair bit. You'll see as we go along, the whole point of this is building in layers, which is what's going to give you that sort of salty effect, this sort of layered rocky look. So you want it sort of medium thick, so you still want a good amount of colour there, and you're just going to sort of apply it wherever you want it really. Try not to do anything too straight or rational looking because it's supposed to be a natural effect, and so you want it to be a little bit random. Then you're going to rinse out your brush, so you've got no colour on your brush, and I've applied the acrylic paint quite thickly here. And you're literally just going to dab a load of water into the middle. And what you'll see happens is it really dilutes the paint in the middle, but it doesn't dilute it quite so much on the outside. So I'm just adding even more here, and I'm sort of swirling it, getting it right up to the edges, and you can see it pushes the colour out to the edges and dilutes it in the middle, which is the effect we're looking for. Then I'm drying off my brush completely, dragging it back through the water and literally removing it. And you just keep doing that process until you're happy with the result you've got. So adding lots of water, swirling it around to dilute the paint. Drying off your brush and then soaking up the remaining water. And when you soak up the water, you're going to take some of the colour out, which gives it that sort of semi-transparent effect that you're looking for. It's going to show the pink through from underneath. And you literally just keep on going, adding on where you want it. I like to try and sort of do some blobby bits, some straighter lines, some little veins, just because I think it gives it a more sort of rocky effect, if you like. And depending on how much paint you remove, obviously depends on how much colour you're going to have left behind afterwards. And again, depending on how much you swirl it around, how much water you add, depends. So I think what I will say is it's a bit of a learning curve. If it doesn't look quite right for you the first time you try it, don't give up, because there's definitely a knack to doing this. And the more you do it, the more you find the best technique to do it, and the more you find the look that you like. I've done this, well, I've been trying this for a couple of weeks now and not getting it right. And then today I've finally cracked it, which is why I'm now filming for you guys, because so many of you said that you wanted a video on this. I know that there was a rather famous nail tech who put some beautiful nails up in this style, and everyone was saying, oh, please give us a tutorial, and they didn't. So I thought, do you know what, I'm going to see if I can meet this challenge and find out how she did it. And I tried experimenting with layering acrylic, I tried using gel polishes and alcohol. I've tried literally all sorts and all sorts of different techniques, and this really is the best one that I've found. One of the hardest things I think about this technique is actually getting the 3D effect. With things like Himalayan salt, you've obviously got lots of different layers of that sort of semi-transparent pink stone, and then you've got the sort of veins and layers of white running through it. So it's trying to get that sort of effect, I guess you could say, trying to get it to look like there's actually a 3D element to this, like it's not all just sat on top of the nail, but it's actually sort of inside the nail as well. Which brings me on to the next step. So you need to wait for the layer you've done here to be thoroughly dry, and this is the first layer, so you don't need to do the whole nail or anything like that, just a few areas. You're going to wait for it to completely dry, and you're going to top coat it using a matte top coat. You could just use a normal top coat and then wipe the tacky layer off, but then you'd have to buff it, so I just tend to use a matte one and wipe the tacky layer off. So now you've got a good layer of that matte top coat on, you're going to now go on and do the next layer, and the key to this, I think, is making sure that you always try and overlap your layers of acrylic, and that's what gives it that sort of layered effect, basically. This one I want to be quite a strong colour, so I'm putting on quite a bit of white there. You can see I've put it on quite thickly, and then I'm going to load it up with water. And then you literally go on as you did before, so mixing it to dilute the colour in the middle, dabbing your brush off, taking off the layers of water, and it's literally repeating what you've done in the first step. So really, yeah, it's tricky, but once you've got that technique down of getting rid of the product you don't want, actually you've got the whole design sussed there, if you see what I mean. I think the most important thing with this is waiting for it to dry. When I was doing this design, I actually used a hairdryer in between, but because you're removing most of the water anyway using your brush, there's not actually a lot of stuff there to dry, so it doesn't take long at all. If you were doing this on a client, I would say do all of the base layers on all of the nails, and by the time you've finished your 10th nail, nail number 1 will be dry. Does that make sense? So that you can then go along and top coat the first hand, get that one cured, and then check the second hand, top coat that one, and then go on to layer number 2. So this is quite a labour intensive, time intensive design, but God, does it look good when it's done. It really is beautiful. So here I've decided I'm still not quite happy with the design down the side there. And the beauty of this technique is that as long as the acrylic paint isn't fully dried, you can just add more water and go back in and adjust it as you want it to. Now obviously once you've top coated with your gel, you can't do that. So for each layer you need to be sure that you are absolutely happy with the design before you then let it dry, top coat it and go on to the next layer. I think here I might do some little, I'm going to do some little veiny type things. I think adding veins onto rocky effect nail art just makes it look that bit more natural, that bit more organic. It makes it look like it's a product of earth rather than something that's been made by human hands. I don't know, this part, to be honest with you, I'm still definitely perfecting my technique with. It's not great, and you'll see now I go back over again and again and again. Eventually I get to where I'm happy, but again, that's the thing about doing this design, you know, you keep playing with it and keep playing with it. And actually, I do want to say, in this design that I've done, I've actually probably done a bit more than I would have chosen to do on someone's nails, just because I wanted to show you the technique again and again, because I know when I'm looking at tutorials, I like to see the technique really thoroughly and in depth, so that when I come to do it, I've got a bit more of an idea of what I'm doing. Once that layer's dry, again you need to top coat it with a matte top coat, cure it in your lamp, wipe off your tacky layer and go on to the next one. Layer after layer after layer. the more layers you apply, the more of a 3D stone effect you're really going to achieve with this. It is worth noting though that obviously the more layers of matte top coat you use, the thicker the nails become. So you really need to be applying your top coat as thinly as you possibly can, literally pulling it over just so it seals it. You're not looking for smoothness or anything like that. Don't go floating it around, literally just pull it over as thinly as you can, which isn't always the easiest with matte top coats, I know, but as I said earlier, you could always use a normal top coat, take away the inhibition layer and then buff with a buffer block. Personally, I don't like doing that when I'm doing this sort of nail art because there's always the worry that you're going to accidentally buff a little bit too far and go through the top coat and then damage the design underneath it. So wherever possible, I try and use a matte top coat if I can. So again, doing the same thing as before, adding a little bit more water in this case because I want it to be a slightly thinner colour, I guess you'd say. And then adding lots of water, taking the water off my brush, and just going backwards and forwards to it constantly. So I think looking back at this design now, this is the point where I should have stopped. It's really easy, isn't it, afterwards to sit back and look and think, oh, that bit really, that's too much now. But yeah, so if I was doing this design again, I would have stopped at this point. I wouldn't have done any more because I think actually it's beautiful enough as it is. For some reason, I felt like there was a gap there. It didn't feel completely full. And actually with this Himalayan design, you can do as much or as little as you want, really. You could literally do 3 different sections all layered on top of each other and that would be enough. You wouldn't need like to fill the whole nail at all, if that makes sense, because it would look just as stunning as it was. So again, this is the sort of thing where you want to play around a little bit. You can see here I'm just outlining a little bit more white on this section here because I took too much away. And again, that's the beauty of it. If you add too much water and then you suck too much away with your brush, just add a bit more acrylic in, it doesn't matter. Take your water back in, dilute it again, move it again. Build it up as you go, basically. And you know what, if you find you really don't like a layer that you've done, you've top coated it already, so you can literally just get water on a sponge, or you could even use a little bit of alcohol, or you could use some nail varnish remover and wipe off the layer you've just done and start it again because you've already protected it with that matte top coat. So that's another one of the beautiful things about this sort of design. If you make a mistake, wipe it off, start that layer again. So once that has completely dried, you can now finish. So I'm going to use just normal, beautiful, shiny top coat now. And with this, I am going to be putting on a little bit thicker, just sort of gliding it on over. Here I'm sort of scrubbing it a little bit, but in a minute you'll see I come back in with a nice blob of gel polish and really glide over the top. And you can see as you're doing this, the layers come out. You can actually see the depth in the design, and that's what you're looking for. That's sort of the look that the entire nail almost is made up with this. I'm going to carry on experimenting, I think. I think there is more potential to create more depth. I'm just not entirely sure how to do it. So when I do find out, I will certainly post a video, let you guys know. Here's the finished result, so you can really see the different depths and things. I'm really happy with the top of this design. The bottom, I think, is a little bit too busy. It's starting to look flowery, almost like petally. So I think I need to have a little look, but I'm really, really happy with the top of it. And of course you can do it with lots of different colours, black for example, or you can combine colours to create different designs. I hope it has been useful for you today, guys. Please give me a thumbs up if you have enjoyed it. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram, Facebook and Twitter. Bye!